Hi, welcome everybody to the Discover Powered Now webinar series. It's Liam here from Powered Now, and I'm joined again by my colleague Luke. And today's episode is going to be something that's going to go quite in depth. A lot of our users use this particular feature in the software. So we're going to talk today about certificates. Certificates in Powered Now, I've got a wide variety of options, and obviously it depends very much on your industry, depending on how compliant you need to be. But we really help with your compliance and making sure that the organisation of the business stays on top and you're dotting them I's and crossing those T's with regards to that compliance. So, um, what do we offer with regards to certificates? So, obviously, we cover these industries that we try to always look at excelling in. So we've got gas and plumbing certificates. So things for your boiler services, your CP12s, numbers of certificates for plumbing, things like that. We've also got all the electrical side. So you've got your PAT tests in there, minor works, major works, and a variety of other certificates. We've also got a lot of customizable certificates as well. So what we were asked as we build our journey with Powered Now is to get certificates that you can be used on site. So perhaps a visit survey that needs to be completed, or ultimately when a job is completed, some sort of form or sort of signature document that is required for that, again, compliance, just to make sure that you're dotting those I's and crossing those T's. So we've got a variety, as I mentioned, and today we want to go into some of these, show you how to get these set up and how to use the functionality with inside Powered Now. So I'm going to take it over to my colleague Luke. He's going to talk you through a section by section of the certificate. So I think it's important first to get these certificates set up. We know that can be a bit difficult. So Luke, just take us into the certificate. Show us how these are set up in the settings.
Perfect, no problem at all. So yeah, just going to pop onto my screen now. So just having a quick look, obviously there's a few places initially where you can create a certificate. So a good workflow from an engineer's perspective, directly in the diary, you can add a new item from the appointment and click new form. You can do it in a project, you can click the new form or certificate button here, or you've got in the contact record, you can click new certificate. So many ways of creating it, just depends on your workflow in Powered Now. So in relation to setting the certificates up, firstly, we just need to hop into the settings and then go to forms and certificates. So we've got under the general settings of the certificates, firstly, we set up the logo, add your business logo on there, which is, yeah, so it looks nice and professional for your customers. You have company properties, which are all the relative sort of your qualification numbers, your yeah, any registration numbers for any associated companies there. So we've got Offtech, gas safe as well. Going down, would be for your specific engineer in the system. So you choose your competent person scheme if you're an electrician, enter your registration numbers as well, and your electrical position. So yeah, obviously just went over that pretty quick. We're just going to go back onto what Liam has mentioned in relation to the different forms that we offer, obviously not industry specific forms. So if we hop over to available forms and certificates, as you can see, we've got loads of different categories on the left hand side. We're going to miss all of the gas, electric, oil, fire alarm certificates, stuff like that, and we're just going to go down to the bottom two. So we've got measurement forms and risk assessment. So 2020 biohazard risk assessment is basically a COVID-19 form. Obviously it's still about, but if you do want to use that form, you can do. We've got an insurance inspection report, which can be very used for a variety of industries at that point. Yeah, it just depends on if that is specific to your business. And then risk assessment and method statement, obviously that's used in a variety of different industries. And yeah, you can just make it to how you want it on there, really. So measurement forms. So we have the site visit form and extended site visit form. The only difference between the two are this one, the site visit form allows you to add 5 questions, basically how you would like to fill out a form for your customer, which is very helpful. Extended allows you to enter up to 20. We've got the measurement forms, so that, yeah, obviously very widely used in every industry. You can just use a measurement form, get a customer signature at the end of it, and yeah, you've got a copy of that, which is very helpful. Got the job completion form, so this allows you to enter a body of text in the job completion form. You can actually amend the title of this form as well, so that can be very helpful. So if we just click the settings cog, hop into the custom field settings, you can name the actual document, select the color scheme that you would like to go with that. whether it's the user or the customer signing the document off, and the response. So this could be a service agreement that you could literally use this for anything, and you've got 5 different templates that you can use to set that up. And then to apply any changes, you just got the save button at the bottom right hand side of the screen. So let's just hop back onto the site visit form as well. So this was what I mentioned about the questions, which is very good for setting up a form for your engineers to fill out. It could be for yourself, just to make sure that you're happy that you're being compliant with each job. So yeah, obviously you can change the document number if you need to here. You can change the terminology of the email that is sent to the customer if you do want to send it. Then under custom field settings, you can choose the color scheme again between green and blue. Disable customer record details. So if you have to pass this information on due to GDPR compliance, you can actually disable the customer record details in there, which is quite helpful. And then if, I don't know, if you've got an engineer that might not want to fill out the forms exactly how you wanted it to, you can click the force switch button, which allows them to, well, they can't basically fill out the form. Well, every question has to be entered on this. So you've got 20 questions on the right hand side. As you can see, you can just enter that information and then you choose the type of answer you want. So a written answer is a small descriptive box, a written answer box, a large descriptive box, numerical answer, so you can put total hours at the job, image upload, so you can do before and after, date and time, obviously you can put time of arrival, time of leaving, and then yes and no for sort of a risk assessment or how they've dealt with the job, if customer's happy. And yeah, so that's the configuration for the majority of the certificates. It's quite uniform the way through, all the way through, so it's just accessing it from the settings cog. So yeah, I'll pass you, well, I'll go back over to Liam. Just yeah, perfect.
Yeah, cheers, Luke. I mean, as you can see, a lot of those forms could be used for a variety of businesses. So it was a big request. I mean, the RAMS forms and things like that, obviously, the more compliant the world becomes and the more that sort of COVID pushed people to look at these sort of things in the industries, that we're trying to keep up and obviously follow the way with that. And again, if there's job completions, engineer facing roles, we understand people on the job, they're great at doing their job on the job, and the paperwork is what the industry struggles with, which is why we're here to try and help that. So tick box exercises, completions of surveys, completions of questions, just to make sure that the business is staying compliant. Like I say, a uniform approach empowered now to what we do, but we understand businesses have a uniform approach in what they do. So once you have a system that works, people tend to stick to it. And what we try to do there is just adapt with your workflow. Again, try to give you an offering of something that can just go straight into your business and mold straight into a current process, and just maybe tick a few more boxes just to help you along the way, and just show that professionalism too. So appreciate that, Luke. Thanks. So just quickly, Luke, show us how a quick site survey, sort of how you can just choose one of these documents, so that they're how fast and efficient they are. So I know there's benefits with regards to sort of copying and creating. Once you've done one, there's multiple ways to reuse it. So just go into a couple of those bits for us.
Okay, so yeah, so as you mentioned, there's plenty of ways. Well, like I said at the start of the sort of webinar here, so it's basically you have the option to copy all your certificates over from one certificate to another. This isn't specific to any industry, so you can have any certificate that you want and copy the information over. So that can be very helpful when you're creating a gas certificate, for an example. When you go back to the customer for the following year, you can then copy over the information from last year, and then you're just re-entering sort of the results on there. So if I just hop into the forms and certificates tab, so as you can see, we've got an example here. So we've got an electrical installation condition report, EICR, and I've created that. So this will have a load of information. Obviously, if I'd filled it all out onto this one, you'd fill out every single sort of item in there. And really, all you'd need to do is just hop into the options button and go to customer copy, which would then copy all of the details from maybe project to project, if you've got like similar buildings that you're doing work for, or yeah, if you're coming back to this job in a couple of years and you need to recreate one, you can then just literally select customer copy, and all of that information will then migrate onto the certificate for you, which is very helpful. So we've got that side of things. Again, with the site visit forms, if there's quite a standardized sort of a standardized certificate that you create, and you might want to add some information in there. It's just a case of hopping into the certificate and going and copying that over to another customer, which is very helpful. We've also got, when you do go through, as an example, let's just say you didn't copy a certificate over. If you go under a gas safety certificate, as an example, we would then select the customer. So we'll do demo company as an example, as a previously created one. And then it does also ask copy a previous form or certificate. So there's a few places where this will copy from. So it will be under the customer record. The option isn't on there, but it will be from postcode. So if you have, let's just say as an example, a block of flats with a customer and they all have the same boiler but different owners, it will locate that via the postcode, and it will say, would you like to copy the information over? So if they've got the same boiler, that will save you quite a bit of time. So yeah, the same applies across every certificate if you need that. But yeah, obviously nice and easy to copy any information over from certificate to certificate, and you've got a digital copy of that certificate that you can send to the customer whenever you need to. So, but yeah,
Cool.
I'll pass
Just
it back
show
over.
us just show us a creation then, Luke. Show us a sort of a site visit. How we create that and set that up.
Okay, so yeah, so obviously, again, like I said, multiple places where you can create a certificate, diary, project, in the contact record. I'm just going to go into the forms and certificates tab and click new form or certificate. So we've got under the measurement form. So I'm just going to go and click extended site visit form as an example. Select a customer, select an existing project for it as well. So as you can see, I've not entered any questions currently into my extended site visit form. However, if I just go into set custom questions, again, it will take me through back into the settings where we were initially. So if I just put time of arrival, work carried out, materials used, and time of leaving as an example. So we'll do time of arrival, we'll put date and time. Again, obviously time of leaving, we'll put date and time as well. Materials, might need a written answer box for more text. And then exactly the same with the work carried out. And maybe just a written answer box for comments as an example. So let's just hop down to the bottom of the screen and then click save. If I go back onto the certificate, now I can see that it's automatically updated on that. So these are the pre-filled questions that you would fill out on each job. So just selecting the time of arrival, it'll populate the time for you nice and easily. Work carried out. So I reckon let's just do replace sink as an example. Materials, that's just sink. Time of leaving. So nice and quick sync there. So we'll do 2 minutes as an example, and additional comments. Like so. So under important comments, there are some general set. These are basically on every site visit form or extended site visit form. So if you've got a work order from a company, you can enter that as the job number. Obviously, you can enter the description, whether the keys, photos are needed, any additional engineers on site, and what materials have been ordered for the job. Again, you've got another additional comments section as well. Then you can get the responsible person to sign it off. So this could be the customer, or if you wanted to make it a sort of multi-use, you can sign it off as well. So let's just get a signature like so. There we go. And then you can attach images as well, which is very helpful. So then that will display on the report. After that, let's just go through and click the next page. So as you can see, I added my logo at the start. It's got all the customer information at this point. If I entered anything in the customer reference, that would obviously display here. Got the 5 questions that I answered as well. And then this would just populate the signature with any images associated to it. At that point, all I do, confirm it. I can send it to the customer. I can leave it in the account. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to do with it. And then, yeah, it's just there. So you've got a bit of a backup of each job and the report.
Cheers, Luke. I mean, like I say, I think that shows how quick and easy it is just to maybe even customize a form on the fly. It's so easy to try to utilize every part of Powered Now and make sure that you're getting all that you can out of it. And something like that is a real cool feature that people just don't quite find. It's hidden under the measurement forms. It's not the best title. It's something that we are looking at in the future. So yeah, it's again as complex or as simple as you would like it to be, but we just add that little level of compliance just maybe to your business there. So what I'd like to do now, Luke, is just talk about maybe some real industry specific stuff. So I know that, again, a lot of electricians and a lot of plumbers and gas use our software. So can we just look at the
Mhm.
plumbing and gas side first? I'd like to look at some of the certificates, just talk us through some of the options of what we have and just maybe sort of how that maybe would look maybe on the device itself.
Perfect. Okay, no problem. So, right, let's just hop out of the site visit form that was made. And then let's go on to, we'll just start with gas, to be honest. We'll just go on to a gas safety record, nice and easy. So yeah, so let's just go into the new gas certificate. We'll go all the way down to a gas safety record, select my customer, nice and easily again for the project. I can use an existing one, but I'm just going to use a new formal certificate at the bottom. So again, in the settings where we went through the configuration, you've got the company gas reg number and the license number, which changes each year. That it will automatically populate from the settings that have been entered. So you set that up for your engineers and you can update it whenever you need to. And then, yeah, that will update it nice and easily. Again, choose between domestic and landlord. Nice and easy. Date of inspection. So an automated reminder will get set up 30 days prior to the expiration of the certificate and be sent via email. Obviously, we'll be going through that in a little while when we come to the new update as well. So we've got gas supply and pipe work. Obviously, just hop into here. You can just all pass or all not applicable as well if you need to, which is very helpful, save you a bit of time. Obviously, I'm doing this on a desktop version. The tablet version all looks pretty much the same. If you need to have a little look over the desktop, the mobile version, this is what it will look like. So nice and easy to be able to use it. Obviously, adding in appliances as well. So you've got a bunch of drop downs that you can use, which is very helpful. So we'll put in system boiler as an example, location, kitchen cupboard, pop a load of pre-filled names in here as well, obviously of boilers. So we can just put in one in the system and then the model. So I'll just write model. Obviously, nice and easy, nice and clear to be able to identify what you need to select. Obviously, enter in the combustion analyzer readings as well. And yeah, obviously just entering this information. Let's go through and pass all of this.
Yeah, I mean,
And
as you can
then,
see, it's clean, it's really easy. Even on the mobile version, we made this built for engineers, so it's in their hands, it's on the go. It's just one click, two click stuff, so that everything can be compliant and obviously get sent back to the office and get sort of looked over. So sorry to interject there, Luke, but I just
no,
wanted
that's
to,
all right.
so clean looking and sort of that
Yeah,
interface is so good and easy for your engineers.
that's the thing. And regardless, obviously you've got the mobile version, but I can imagine, especially doing quite a lot of certificates throughout the day as well. An iPad is probably used as much
Yeah.
as the phones as well. But yeah, at the end of it, you've got the safety devices, that side of things, additional comments, again, images. So you can set up your signature as well, which is very helpful. So if we just sign that off, obviously I've already entered a signature, but if you haven't created a signature already, don't panic at all. You can click the sign button. It will take you through to your login details, and at the bottom of the screen there's a set signature button, so you don't have to keep doing it each time. Then we got received by, so again this will be the customer that is signing that off, which is very helpful. And yeah, and at that stage we click next. See, we've got the certificate, obviously the gas safe logo on there. All the information has been entered. You've got the signatures that have been applied. And then we've got, yeah, any details of any defects identified and any images that have been uploaded. So we just confirm that. And that's when the reminder gets set up for the customer 30 days prior to the expiration of the certificate. And yeah, so that's the gas side of things.
Yeah.
Again, pretty much same process with the electrical side of things as well, but like it just makes it a lot easier once you've created the certificate for the first time. All that information is transferable onto the following certificates.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a number of the certificates obviously there already for gas and plumbing, and they've been there for quite some time. And with all feedback, As we all know, and we talk about it constantly on our webinars with regards to the wish list, our certificates are a big feature that we're pushing on with regards to compliance, making sure that obviously we try to be in top of the game with regards to that. So any feedback with regards to any certificates, we very much welcome on board. If there's anything that could be making your life a little bit easier, we know we get asked for sort of auto completion functionalities and sort of drop downs to appear and here and there. So like, always give us that feedback. We'll build this software for your guys' usage to make sure it makes your life a little bit easier. So we want to be the best compliant and we want to make it as easy as we can for you guys. So absolutely, any certificates not quite there, not quite we haven't released yet, give us a shout. We can always sort of build them, add them to the system. So cheers, Luke. So obviously the electrical side of things,
Yep.
different levels of compliance, different sort of compliances with different accredited bodies. Again, a compliance world that we're driven in. So just talk to us around the electrical side, what we've got in there, and maybe just go through again another sort of one of the creations of that.
Okay, no problem. So, right, again, we're probably just, well, when in relation to the electrical side of things, as you mentioned, different accreditations, and the most important thing to be set up right from the start is in the forms and certificates settings. So, again, we've got a few different schemes on here as well. So, electrical scheme registration number, which is very important against the engineer. But one of the main things is the competent person scheme. So we've got the list of accreditations just here that you select from for the one that you're associated to. Obviously, enter your electrical scheme registration number, electrical position as well, so you can enter that. And yeah, obviously at the top we've got the company details, so what's associated to the company. The main one being obviously domestic electrical installation registration number, and the color of the electrical certificates. I believe that is due to the location. Obviously, you've got different options between red and blue. So firstly, that's the most important thing to get set up. And then, yeah, obviously, once you've done that, done the signature again, which is just in manage team section, you just click the blue edit button, scroll to the bottom, enter the signature like so. So let's just hop back and yeah, hop into the new form certificates, and we can just click under the electrical tab because we've got a bunch of certificates. Obviously, as you can see, there are blue little there's a blue little sort of short code here as such as well. So you'll be very sort of well, you be very familiar with all of this as well. So as you can see, against each certificate, it does state in well, it's been tested in accordance with a British standard as well, which is very helpful. So you can see exactly what you need to. Loads of different electrical certificates. So we've got PAT testing, as you mentioned earlier, minor electrical, got the electrical installation and condition reports as well. So let's just select one certificate as an example, go through. So obviously the electrical side of things is just again the same, well, it displays the same as the gas certificate. Nice and simple, and regardless of what device you're using, very efficient to be able to create the information clearly stated in each section as well. So you have all the information again, and it clearly states whether it's not been checked on, so it makes you fill it in. Got general schedule of circuit details as well, which could be very helpful. Just obviously, again, you've got selection of drop down menus. If there's an option that you need to use that isn't on there, you just type over it. But yeah, just adding circuit details in there as well, which is very helpful. Then you've got the generic schedule of test results, again, attachments at the bottom. So let's just click next. Pre-populates the certificate for you with all the information to make obviously it compliant here. So you've got the signatures as well. And yeah, it just obviously looks like a nice professional certificate for all of your customers that require it. So yeah, hope that managed to clear everything up in relation to the certificates.
Cheers, Luke. Again, we could spend months talking about all the different certificates and all what they do, but obviously you guys, you're in this industry, you know what certificates relate to you and what you need and how they benefit you, and again how easy they are to use. So feedback that we take on board consistently. So I know a number of providers offer sort of certificate options, but some of them, so let's say, they lack a bit of sort of oomph behind what they do. So maybe they have to retype all the same details in second year round, and it's sort of at a starting scratch point from each time, where again we just try to give you the options to maybe copy or take details across, so it takes core credibility straight into the system, and just makes you go again rather than have to take 2 steps back, get out an old certificate, have a look at it. So again, we've got some things coming in version 9 that makes this a little bit easier. One of the things we hear a lot of the time is we constantly get phone calls to the business asking for certificates. They've lost a copy. Can you send us a new copy? And things like that. So not dangling too much. We've got customer portals and things coming in where these options are available. But in version 9, obviously we've changed a little bit of the certificates, just a tiny amount. So Luke, show us version 9 and what's coming with certificates. What can we hope to see?
Okay, so yeah, so one big feature that is coming in is just in relation to the reminders mainly. So we've got firstly the ability to enable a reminder for every single certificate. So you can enable and disable it. So if you have larger customers that you deal with quite commonly, you can then disable it. Obviously, if they've got their own automated reminders set up for, let's just say, an estate agent as an example, which is very helpful. Another feature is you have the ability to amend the subject and contents of the email, and the new feature that is coming in, which will be text message reminders, which is very helpful. So you can also amend that text message confirmation that is sent to the customer as well, which is very helpful. Another feature that's come in, so as you probably mentioned, well, what I mentioned earlier in the webinar, 30 days prior to the expiration of the certificate will no longer be a thing. You can actually get it set up yourself. So if you want to remind the customer a little bit before, just to make sure you obviously win the work back for the following year, that can be very helpful to be able to do that. So you can set the days after the certificate is created that the reminder will get sent to the customer. Again, you've got 3 options here. So you have send via email, send via text. So if there's a specific certificate that you only want being sent via email, you can enable and disable it accordingly. And then another feature, which is very helpful, that's going to be coming, is send user notifications. So you can set up a notification to be sent to yourself prior to the reminder being sent out to the customer, which is very helpful, just so you know obviously what certificates you've got coming up. And again, obviously with the certificates, all these reminders will be exportable via the reports and export tab. So but yeah, I think pretty much yeah, obviously there's gonna be a lot of people that are very happy about that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, the certificates, obviously, all we wanted to do is just make it a bit more interactive, give you a bit more customization with regards to these reminders. We know that obviously winning that work next year round, if we can notify you to notify customer, it just makes things a little bit easier. Again, that communication loop that we always talk about at Powered Now, it just adds a bit more value to that. So cheers for that, Luke.
No problem.
Um, Not really much more to talk about certificates. In all honesty, I think we've covered a lot of the areas today. I know it's been a long one, so I do appreciate everyone for joining us and for sticking around. And again, we offer training all the way along any specific areas that you want to cover in a bit more detail. So like we say, if you are maybe not a gas plumber or electrician, you deal with sort of landscaping or pest control. We obviously have got other certificates, so let us know. We can always book you in for a training session with one of the team, and we can take you through one by one option where we can just show you that, help you set it up, and get you utilizing that in the business. So before we go, we do always want to ask our subscribers and customers some questions, opportunity to ask us questions, really. So I know that I have got a few waiting, so if you just bear with me, I just want to hop over to see what we've got there. And the first question we have, and we hear it a lot about now, is, oh, how do I add a site address to an existing certificate? We hear it all the time. People create certificates and don't set up the right addresses from the get-go. So Luke, just show us how to get it right from the beginning.
No problem. Okay, so one, I'll go through how to get it right from the beginning. So what I normally advise doing is always create the project first. It just makes it a lot easier to make sure and ensure that you're setting it up correct. So I always go new project, select my customer, obviously, or add a new contact at the bottom. Then the most important thing is add new site. So if you see this address, this is your main customer. Let's just say Mr. Estate Agent. This is Mr. Estate Agent here. Go add new site. If that's the address that you are, well, if that's not the address that you're going to, obviously we need to change that. So you need to click add new site. It gives you the ability to add plots as well. So if you deal with like a new build or a development, you can add, like, associate multiple certificates in the same project if you need to. So let me just go and add a postcode into here, and then to pop in a quick address for that. Like so. We'll go and add that in. We'll go and add a contact in. This could be a site manager. This could be a tenant. You name it, you can add it in there. Whenever you create a certificate, or, well, whenever you create an appointment as well, it will send a confirmation to the customer via text and email if you've set this up. But I'm just going to leave it blank for the moment. Once I've clicked done, you then select the site address. And what I always advise doing is naming the first line in the address as the project name. And then you can add whatever you need to on the end of it, like a work order number, you name it, you can just add that in. So when I click finish, you'll notice the project looks slightly different because it'll have customer details and site details here. So it gives you the option, and whatever you create. So if you create an invoice, if you create a certificate. So if I just go and create a certificate quickly, just use any one as an example. Obviously, imagine I've filled it all out, and you can see, so it will clearly display under client address and installation address there. So you can see the change. If, however, let's just say you've set up a customer and forgot to add the site address in. So probably this one is a great example. So, well, we've got one here which has the site address currently as Big House. What I'm just going to show you is if we just click back, and then what you'll need to do to update the site address, you'll just need to hop into the project, click the setting cog next to the project name. Then we select the address. Let's just say 3 High Street as an example, or we'll do the registered address as 23 High Street. We'd have to just update the certificate. So do 23 High Street on the project name. Then once that's done, we just hop back into the original certificate that was created, then update defaults at that stage. It will come up with new information has been found in the project. You just select installation details, which is what I updated, then click confirm, and that will update there nice and easily. So yeah, hope that managed to answer your query.
Cheers for that, Luke. Again, something that we constantly get asked is that. So if that helps, that's great. Another thing that we do get asked quite a bit is a question that's just come in, and it's how do I remove certificates that I don't use? So how do we get them out of that list?
Perfect. So, well, this is obviously going to be for the majority of people that use Power Now, unless you delve into multiple industries. You've got the option. So again, we're just going to hop into the settings cog, go to forms and certificates, then go to available forms and certificates. So let's just say, for an example, you don't deal in the oil side of the business. You can literally just click the little tick button next to it, and then that will just display like so. So you'll see it's grayed out now. So that's been hidden from the available forms and certificates when you go and create a new one. So it'd just be a rinse and repeat process for every industry that you don't use. And then, yeah, they'll all be hidden for you.
Cheers, Luke. Nice and easy. There is a question here that I can definitely answer. So that's why can't I complete a certificate? So the certificates are only on the professional tier. Again, and some of them other features that we offer are only on sort of the professional tier. So we've got sort of the zero integration, making tax digital if you're VAT registered. So yes, you may not be seeing the certificates because of that. But again, get in touch with the team. What we're happy to do is open it up, let you have a play with them, show the benefit of them. And obviously, if you'd like what you see and it makes sense, then you can always upgrade to the professional tier that contains these extra benefits and the certificates as well. We've got, I think, a couple that we've already answered. So how do I add my logo? We've already covered. company registration details we've covered. So I think, yeah, that's really everything. Signatures we covered. So I think that's really all the questions there that we've covered today. So I mean, I don't think there's really more anything else to add with regards to certificates. So, like I say, if you want to give us a try with regards to certificates, get in contact with the team. Again, book a demo or a training session. We offer them pretty much around the clock. Appreciate when works on, so we can work alongside you. And again, we can go into some of the niche industries, or again, we can just expand on what we've covered today, maybe help you get these set up, get the registration details right, get the color scheme or the competent person scheme associated to you, so that you just click and go, so you're ready to go. So thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next episode coming soon.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.